Okay, so Texans-Packers, we lost. I predicted we would lose, but I thought it would be because of the defense and the injuries that we had on that side of the ball. But it wasn't that. D'Amico Ryans, after that performance in Minnesota in a playoff atmosphere on the road, he said, my unit, my defense is not going to perform like this again. We're going to be ready next time. And they were. And that defense really impressed me on Sunday against Green Bay, against a prolific passing team in a loud, hostile environment, down some key starters. And our special teams did their part, more than their part. But Bobby Slowick and the offense did not show up in Green Bay. They did not show up ready to play in that environment. And the offensive line was bad. Dalton Schultz was pretty bad. Tank Dell wasn't very good. Stephon Diggs, I didn't see much of him. Joe Mixon showed up. He was ready to play. And I said in the video a couple weeks ago, like, we aren't going to fire Bobby Slowick, right? But I noticed that Dean Pease was brought in Baltimore a couple weeks ago because their defense was struggling, and their defensive coordinator was a 32-year-old guy with no experience. So they were like, you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed on game day. There's too much going on. We're going to bring in Dean Pease, who's been coaching defense for 50 years. He's going to help you. He's going to advise you. He's going to make things easier for you. Bobby Slowick needs that. If you're not going to fire Bobby Slowick, get him help. He cannot do this. When you have a good team and you're watching a team and you're processing it and you're understanding it, you sort of are doing the math as a fan, whether you realize it or not. Like, oh, that's what's going to keep us from being a really good team. Whether that's your quarterback, your offensive line, your defense, whatever it is, you know in the back of your mind, oh, well, our offensive line's just not good enough. You know, when we play a good team, we're going to lose. That's why we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, is because our quarterback's not good enough, our offensive line, whatever it is. When you watch this Texans team, the defensive line is good enough. The linebackers are good enough. The secondary is good enough. The receivers, theoretically, are good enough. Joe Mixon's good enough. C.J. Stroud is good enough. The offensive line, Bobby Slowick, are they good enough? I'm not so sure. We have to beat Indy this week. Go Texans.